This video is about problem solving and more specifically with inequalities. So how to solve a multi-step inequality and putting these into some sort of application. So let's look at some examples. So this one says translate the statement it is a minimum of 3. So whenever we're given some sort of application problem, we want to make sure we know how to translate the wording into some sort of mathematical expression. So when it says a minimum, that means the lowest it could be is 3. So with that in mind, if it's the lowest it can be, that means everything else can be bigger. So x can be greater than or equal to 3. And because it can be 3, so minimum of 3 means it can be 3, so that's why the equal sign is with this. So bigger or equal to. Next example, translate the statement, the quotient of a number and 2 is more than 5. Okay, so we have to remind ourselves what the word quotient means. That means divide. So it says of a number, so we give that a name, x and 2. So the quotient of a number and 2, so x divided by 2 is more than, so bigger, so greater than 5. Next example, a rectangular room. I'm going to abbreviate. A rectangular room must have a maximum area of 84 square feet. If the room is 8 feet wide, what is the longest it could be? Okay, so when this happens, then we can look to drawing a picture. So let's draw ourselves a rectangular room. And then it says that the width is 8 feet. So we know the width is 8 feet. And we don't know the length, so we're going to give that name an X. And it said that it had to have a maximum area of 84. So max meaning the biggest it can be is 84. So we know we're going to have to be less than or equal to 84. So how do we find area of a rectangle? Well, length times width. Length times width gives me area. So we're going to plug that in. We know the width. So it's length times 8 is less than or equal to 84, or I can rewrite that as 8L is less than or equal to 84. And now we want to solve it. So divide both sides by 8, and we get x is less than or equal to 10.5 feet. And it says what is the longest it can be? So this is saying x can be less than or equal to 10.5. So it could be smaller, but it could be equal to 10.5. So the longest it could be is 10.5 feet. Last example. Rita earns $10 an hour. She puts 5% of her earnings in savings. Write an inequality to find out how many hours H. So I'm going to just abbreviate hours H. Rita must work to save at least $25. So we just want to write the inequality. We don't need to solve it. So she earns $10 an hour. So we know she's making $10 per hour. So that means times. But she is putting 5% of her earnings. So 10 times H is her earnings, 5%. So remember, we need to change that to a decimal. So that's going to be 0.05. So 0.05 of her earnings, so multiply, is what she's putting into savings. And then it says to have at least 25. So the smallest money she could have is 25. So we can have 25, but least means we want bigger, right? At least 25. So this would be the inequality that represents this problem. All right, that's it for this video. As you work through your lesson, if you have any questions, be sure to ask your teacher. Have a great day.